All right. Hi, friends. How are you? Popping on for our weekly having conversations and answering business questions in real time, both questions that were asked in advance and questions that are asked here now happening. So I call these Ask Me Anything. But before we start there, let's see if we could start with the question of the day. Now, I don't know about you, but can you describe your day in one word? All I need to see right now is one word that describes your day. The word that I would use today is exciting. That's it. My word for the day. Do you guys remember Sesame Street? Word of the day. Today, the word of the day is exciting. Okay, so speaking of exciting, let's dive into some of the pre-asked questions. And the way this works is you can ask questions in real time to which I will answer. So leave your questions here and we'll bump those right up to the top. Question number 1, this is focused on getting started. Jamie asked, what is one thing you would tell someone just beginning to build a social media presence? So, Jamie, I have advice. If you're just starting your social media presence, or if you have a social media presence that you're really trying to grow, the answer to both of those situations is the same, and that would be to simply start. Because oftentimes, action brings clarity. The way that this works is that the more that we do something, the clearer what we should be doing in the future things become. Things become more clear when we take action. Things become more clear when we start posting on social media, even if what we're posting, we feel like it just sucks. And anytime you start anything new, I am talking not just about social media, I'm talking about learning how to ride a bike for the first time. I am talking about recording your first podcast. I am talking about going on a job interview for the first time. Anytime you start something new in your life, it's going to be terrible. That's it. So oftentimes when we're starting on social media, or even if you're kind of like trying to get your bearings on social media, you want to say, I'm really going to start and I will be dedicated and I will be consistent once I get it together. And let me tell you, you don't get it together until you start doing. That's just where things are, and that's the truth. So if we establish that as the truth, and trust me, it is, the thing we want to focus on is to give yourself grace and then iterate and evolve. I have to tell you, yes, right now I am doing a live and it is baby girl's snack time and she's enjoying berries and yogurt and I'm out here trying to do the dang thing. So it's two of us trying to do the dang thing. This is me learning my truth, speaking my truth, and building out the future, not just for myself, but the kind of future that I want for my daughter. So yes, I know she's yelling in the background, but she's A-okay and she's happy and she's eating. So when we talk about giving yourself grace and evolving and iterating, is that when I first started posting on social media, I knew I wasn't doing it right and I knew I wasn't doing it even good. But it was in the process of doing things not as they should be that I learned what really social media is about. And what social media is truly about is about being social. It's not about sales. It's not about conversions. It's not about being perfect. It's not having an Instagrammable life. It's about showing up and connecting with people in real time. If then we say that if you're just starting, or even if you started and you're really trying to cultivate your followers, that your objective isn't to be bomb business person amazingness on social, but right now your objective is to be social, take a big breath. Take a step back and say, okay, if my objective is to be social, what must I be posting? You could be talking about current events. You could be talking about things that light you up. You could be talking about things that you're involved with as a passion project, or where you volunteer your time. You could be talking about what you're doing in your business that really sets you apart from your competition. You could be talking about a bunch of things that aren't necessarily related to, here's my credit card, make a transaction, but like, hey, can I get to know you as a person? So how about we take a big step back and ask ourselves, first and foremost, what can I do to be social? And what can I do to go and give engagement to people so that they know that my account is actually there to serve them and to get to know them? Okay, so if you have questions, leave them here. And I'm going back again because I want to know your answers. The question of the day is to describe your day in one word. Y'all, My word was exciting. I want to know what your word is. I'm going to give a shout out to some of my favorite words. Okay, question number 2. We're going to be focusing on Reels reach. Danae asked, I know my Reels serve my audience, but to be honest, I'm becoming discouraged that they're not being over-indexed on Instagram anymore. They take so much work to batch create. Do you have any tips? Number 1, Danae, I do have tips. And here's the thing. We are creating, right now we're in the process of creating an issue of Social Curator on how to batch 3 reels in less than an hour. Yes, our big promise, and we set a timer. We're creating content on how you can batch 3 reels in less than an hour. That means that we're making a reel in less than 20 minutes. I'm showing you how it's done. That issue will be dropping in Social Curator this summer, so prepare your hearts because it's going to be good. Now, having said that, and that is already out there, done and out in the wild, I have to say that it's going to be very important for us to focus on a tenet. And the tenet is that the algorithm operates on inventory. The algorithm. When we say the algorithm, we're talking about any social platform that has an algorithm. Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Pinterest, Clubhouse, Snapchat. I mean, every social platform has an algorithm. So when Danae is asking about Reels on Instagram, there are also Reels exist on Facebook. And things that require the algorithm to show content, it means that, and I'm going to bring this slide up right here, is that we really depend on inventory. Inventory is what we're putting out. So I want you to think of every piece of content that you are creating. If you're creating stories, if you're creating a post, if you're creating a short video, less than 60 seconds, if you're creating a long form video, which is more than 60 seconds, but less than 10 minutes, if you're creating a live video, if you're creating an IGTV, if you're creating stories, whatever it is you're creating, whatever piece, whatever post you put out, that is considered inventory. So the algorithm, anytime somebody posts, you're putting inventory into the algorithm, and then the algorithm is taking it and it's going to be showing those posts to people who want to consume content in that way. So just this morning on Instagram, I went live, and oh hey, I'm going live on Facebook, and this video will then be turned over to YouTube and shared on Twitter and also be put on my blog. However, this piece of inventory that I'm putting out into the ether on Facebook, very similar to the piece of content that I put out on Instagram when I went live, that is a piece of inventory. The algorithm will show that live video most likely to people who like to watch live videos. That's the way the algorithm works. When you put out a reel, the algorithm will show it preferably and most likely to people who have indicated that they like watching reels. The algorithm is there to keep people on the platform. And the way that the algorithm keeps people on the platform is to show them more of what they like to see. So, as more people create reels, there is more inventory for the algorithm to offer. When reels hit Instagram, goodness, about a year ago, maybe a little less than a year ago, when reels hit Instagram, the one thing I said was, please, please, please create reels. Because there wasn't a lot of people creating reels at the time, and Instagram was really trying to over-index the algorithm to show people reels. Why? Because it wanted to be in competition with TikTok. And so what has happened in the last year is that a lot more people are creating reels. And when there's a lot of inventory of reels, Instagram's algorithm gets to dole out reels a lot more judiciously. It's going to look at which reels are the most engaging, which reels seem to be popping off the screen. Whereas before, when I used to post a reel and not a lot of people were putting out reel inventory, my reels got a lot more views. Versus now, I feel like my reel reach, organic reach, has gone down. However, having said that, a good reel really does change the game on Instagram. 2 weeks ago, at the time of this recording, I posted a 7-second reel, and it was a voiceover reel. There was like an audio piece of saying like, people don't watch you, but they really do. in less than 2 weeks, that reel got over 1 million views. So what does this show me? It shows, but on average, when I'm putting a reel out, whereas before I used to easily, within 24 hours, get around 200,000 views, right now, that's gone down to less than 100,000. And here's the thing, the more people that create reels, my organic reach is gonna go down, down, down. Does that mean I'm going to stop creating them? No, because when you get a good reel that hits, man, it pays off in dividends. So when I launched that voiceover reel, on the first day, I think we had around 100,000 views, but within 2 weeks, it had 1 million. So what does this show that the algorithm is looking for? It's looking for inventory that it could show people over time. But the thing that I knew is that it wasn't if reels reach would be reduced, but when. So I knew it was going to be reduced, but I still continued creating, because people say, but Jasmine, if your reach, continues to decrease, should you stop creating? And my answer is, heck no. You should not stop creating, because when you're giving the algorithm inventory, you have the opportunity to find something that really resonates with your audience. This is like the famous Michael Jordan quote, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Just because I am not getting the same organic reach I was on Reels a year ago does not mean I'm going to stop creating Reels, because there's still so much attention and value. But this is where this is where the pedal meets the road, I don't even know what those actually are. This is where the metal, what am I trying to say? This is where the metal meets the road. This is where the tire meets the road. Good Lord, have mercy. This is where the going gets tough, right? We need to create content that is going to allow us to get discovered. I will still continue creating reels, both on Instagram that could potentially be shared on stories on Facebook, or creating reels on Facebook to be shared on Facebook. There's a lot of room to grow here. Okay, now let's dive into some of the live questions. So let's go back, because I have to give a shout out. So some of the shout outs of the day. So I asked, question of the day, describe your day in one word. And some of the words, let's see. Erin said transformative. Denise said content. Rocio said productive. Yes. Okay. So, let's dive into Sherry. She says, I have a mobile bar business and a health coaching business. I use Facebook business page for the party business. I use my personal page for my health coach business. When I post on my party business page, I often then share it to my personal page. Is that okay? Listen, Sherry, all things are okay. There's not a right or wrong. Your audience will let you know what they want to see. So Sherry, if you are sharing from your business page to your personal page and people are engaging and they're leaving comments and they like it, thumbs up, good job. You don't need to change anything. If you're sharing your business content to your personal page and then it's like crickets and nobody really cares, that's your audience saying, Sherry, thanks, but no thanks. So I always look at engagement. I always look at responses. I always look if people are commenting or liking to see if that's the content I should be putting out. However, having said that, I would also recommend to what we call in Social Curator to stagger the content. If you're posting on your business page, I don't think you should immediately post it to your personal page, because if you're immediately reposting from your business page to your personal page, the people who follow your personal page have zero incentive to follow your business page. What I always recommend doing is to stagger content so that people aren't seeing the same content on the same time. So the person who's following your business page and your personal page, if you're constantly just repurposing that content, they're gonna see two different posts and people are gonna be like, this is just too much from one person. So I always recommend staggering that content. Okay, Jacqueline asked, I don't even know how to post a reel, how to find out, LOL. Okay, Jacqueline, if you go to my Instagram account at Jasmine Star and you click on the IGTV, you will find a tutorial called A Reel in Real Time. What I did is I recorded myself making a reel, going through the tutorial in real time that I posted at that moment. So there will not be another more robust tutorial. Like I was literally live on Instagram recording myself as I created and posted a reel. I'm very proud of it. It was awkward as all get out, and I won't even rewatch it because I'm like, oh, I cringe watching myself on camera. But the feedback we got from that was really great, and I stand by that tutorial. So that was good. Okay, Lori asked, how many reels should we post in a week? And Lori, that answer is however much you can handle. I would never say, oh, Lori, you got to post 18. I don't know if that is the right thing for you. Right now, I am trying to post as many reels as I possibly can, and I am posting anywhere from 3 to 4 reels a week on Instagram. What I noticed is that when I create a reel on Instagram, when I was trying to post reels in the same frequency on Facebook, it wasn't working really well. People on Facebook, they don't really want to see a reel repurposed on my Facebook page, so I had to be very careful. What I am currently doing, and I'm just speaking about it in real time, this is me, I could change next week, but this is how it is right now. I will be posting 3 or 4 reels on Instagram, and some reels perform very well on Instagram. For the reels that perform very well on Instagram, I might turn them into a post on Facebook or put them into stories. If the reel didn't perform all that well on Instagram, that means it probably won't. It'll probably perform worse on Facebook. So I don't repurpose it on Facebook. Again, personal decision. There's not a right or wrong, but I'm using my content on different platforms to test what's really good to prove a proof of concept before I take it onto a different platform. I hope that helps. All right, let's get into third question of the day. Nothing to say. Denise says, pushing myself to do more live, but girl, nothing to talk about. Please help. I am a brow artist. Okay, so Denise, I have to let you know that I would go live on Instagram and go live on Facebook, which is what I still do every week to this day. And I was going live on Instagram and Facebook when nobody was showing up live and when nobody was asking questions. And so I am going to give you the advice that I use. It doesn't mean it's right, but it's what works for me. So let's dive into number 1. What questions are you frequently asked as a brow artist? Now, Denise, what am I doing right now? I am answering questions that people have asked. This is actually a really beautiful thing that I can go into a live and not feel all this pressure to be like, I need to come up with original content. All I'm doing, and y'all see this, question number 1, right? Getting started. And then we have question number 2, which is about reels reach. And then we have question number 3, which is, oh, I have nothing to say. Today's content is just a Q&A, which is really great because the audience is asking for information and all I'm doing is showing up and sharing information. The audience is asking questions in real time and I am answering in real time. So it's almost like the content is creating itself. Now, Denise or anybody else who's watching to be like, okay, that's nice, but nobody's asking me questions. Even when I am asking people to ask me questions, my advice would then be, what do you wish you were asked? So in the beginning, when nobody was showing up live, and in the beginning, when nobody was asking me questions, I made a list of questions I wished people asked me. Does that sound pathetic? Maybe. Does it sound desperate? Maybe. But did it stop me? No. And because I showed up week after week, month after month, and year after year, answering questions I wished I was asked, it opened the doors for people to feel comfortable to ask me questions, which then led into what I am doing now. I am creating content by answering frequently asked questions. Now, here's the thing. I'm going to be very honest when I answer this. When any business owner answers questions about their business, their profession, their expertise, and or their industry, you are positioning yourself to be an expert and an authority, even if you're not. Okay, I feel like I need to repeat that again. When you are answering questions about your industry, your profession, your career, what it is you do, it positions you as an expert or as authority, even if you're not an expert or an authority. Isn't that crazy how it works? People judge being an expert and people judge being an authority on somebody who is speaking or teaching or educating or helping around that very topic. That, my friends, is what the internet did. The internet democratized being an authority. Before, an authority came for, I went to school for this many years and I have all these letters behind my name. Before the internet, authority was, I have enough money or I have enough family connections. That makes me an authority. Before the internet, being an authority simply was, I have connections at the country club. This is who I am. Or a group of people who don't look like me, aka older men sitting around in suits around a boardroom, determined who would be an authority. There was a group of people who determined who was going to be authority. And then the internet happened. I feel like I should say, and then the internet happened. I need to hit the syllables and let anybody know that the internet democratized the way we show up as professionals, so that the internet served up an opportunity for people to create so much content that you become the source. And so when people are like, okay, but I have nothing to say, that should be your main focus. Your main focus should be to use content pillars or your caption categories. Now, the person who asked this question was Denise. I know Denise. She's a member of Social Curator. So I'm going to answer this like I'm talking to a member of Social Curator. Denise, we have content around building out your caption categories as well as your content pillars. For people who are not a member of Social Curator, your content pillars are going to be things that you want to be known for, even if at this moment you're not known for those things. But the idea is, just because you can talk about anything on social media doesn't necessarily mean that you should talk about anything on social media. You should talk about things you want to be known for. Your post should fall into content pillars so that you can ask yourself, hey, is this part of my content pillar? If it's not, chances are don't waste time creating content that's going to lead nowhere. Some of my content pillars are going to be social marketing. If I want to talk about social marketing, that's what I want to be known for. When somebody introduces me in a room, I want them to be saying like, she knows what she's talking about when it comes to social marketing. I want to be introduced as somebody who knows how to work and build an effective personal brand. And I also want to be known for making people believe that the impossible is possible. This source of belief by hard work and discipline is the thing I want to be known for. Now, if you go back on my Facebook page, if you go back on my YouTube channel, if you go back on my Instagram account, if you go back on my LinkedIn accounts or pages, you will see that my content falls into social marketing, branding, or shifting of beliefs. You'll see that. So I'm literally only practicing what I'm preaching. So Denise and anybody else who's interested, focus on your content pillars. Respond to questions in a public way. And if nobody's asking you questions, what I encourage you to do is to answer questions you wish people were asking you. Okay, so Christy asked, I'm curious on the hashtags on Reels. Are they important? No, I'm terrible with hashtags lately. So here's the thing. Hashtags help for relevant content. So for instance, if you are creating a reel and let's say it's like basketball tips, you should be using hashtags around basketball tips. But you should probably not be hashtagging LeBron James unless LeBron James is in your reel, or number two, you talked about LeBron James in the caption. The idea should be that hashtags should only amplify relevant content. Just because you use a big and popular hashtag does not mean that your reel is going to be better. However, if you have a really solid piece of content and you use the right relevant hashtags, it runs the chance of getting more exposure to people who are interested on the topic that you're talking about. So if you hashtag basketball tips or young baller or like hashtag go hard in the paint, whatever it is, and they come across that reel and they found like that content was valuable, there's a higher likelihood of them liking, engaging, even following, or sending you a DM. So hashtags are important, but remember, hashtags are great for discoverability. They're not the greatest for instant followers. They're not the greatest for visibility. What hashtags do is they pour gas on a fire of a good post. But if you pour gasoline on top of nothing, it doesn't do anything. Like if your post is mediocre and it's kind of just like nobody's really paying attention to the content because it just wasn't that good, and you pour gasoline on it, guess what? The hashtags aren't going to do much for it. But if you have like a piece of content that people are like, engaging with and liking it, those hashtags are going to show it to more people who are more interested. And then when you pour gasoline on a little tiny flicker of a flame, now we get to cook with some fire. But again, hashtags don't save mediocrity. Hashtags expose how good a piece of content is. So I wouldn't depend on hashtags to make your content visible. You got to make good content. Hashtags, they always help as long as the hashtags are relevant to the content that you are sharing. All right, friends. So every week I go live. We have conversations. We talk about life, business, and everything on the in-between. A lot of the words that people were sharing, remember if we go back, y'all, I love the questions of the days. I know that it just drives you crazy, but I'm here for it. I'm like that annoying auntie who's just like, talk to me about your day. I will say that I love hearing from you. I love getting to know you, and I love understanding the journey that we're all on as business owners. I go live every week. I come on to share what I know with the hopes that you have the confidence and the chutzpah and the cojones to go and share what you know as well. Together we have the opportunity and the honor and the privilege and the duty. We have the duty to share what we know, to open doors for people who never knew the doors existed. This is what I try and aim to do every single week. Thank you guys so much. I'll see you guys next week. Be sure to leave your questions. Like always, we post a question call the day before I go live. You leave questions, I provide the answers, or to the best of my ability. Y'all, like always, much love, respect, appreciation. I hope you have a good day.